start our class, and so that makes students involved and interested in it, and then everything changes. And in a year, my student came to me and said, "Sorry, I love you, and I love English. English is my favorite subject." Yeah, that's the thing.
So.
And I'm very happy because of that.
You have won the conflict.
Yeah. Because he loves, not me, he loves English. And he says, English is my best subject and my favorite subject at school.
We know that Ukrainians like to sing, especially Valia. So picking something that's culturally acceptable and something that's fun is one way to help these to help these students understand. Now, it seems to me in our class in the United States, with our students are not that interested in a lot of things because of the culture, and you know, the things that I'm interested in are not necessarily the things that they're interested in. So oftentimes, I think this business of motivation is trying to get the students to make the content relevant to the students. You see, I think there's, yeah, so you understand what I'm saying, right? Make the content relevant to the students. Make it about things that they want to talk about in English. Yes?
Many times, at least in Argentina, we don't even choose our own textbook. It's like my textbooks are suggested, are given to me by the heads of the English department. So
right.
The magic is, like how to make that I cannot change, relevant to these students.
Right.
And so more than the what I'm teaching is the how I'm doing it. Because I have to use that textbook and I have to cover those things, and that's what my students are going to be tested on, and ultimately myself, my own work at the end of the year.
Right.
So the challenge is really not the content, because I cannot change the content.
Right, right. It reminds me, you know, when we look at these problems, we look at parents are not interested, students are not motivated, students are not interested, classes are crowded, parents are not involved, students, many of the problems are about the students. We're pushing the problem out and making it the students, you know, it's not my problem, it's the students' problem, okay? So, large class, it's not so much, students, not so much, discipline, lack of respect for society, okay? Lack of motivation. So, part of the action research sequence, okay, is taking those problems, those students, and making them my problem, okay? What's the problem for me? So the students lack motivation. What would the students say? That teacher is boring, right? That teacher teaches from the book. I'm not interested in the book. You know, so part of action research is saying, well, what is the problem?
Yes.
Well, what's the problem with me?
That's what I meant, like the how, not
Yeah.
so much the what I'm going to teach.
Right.
Because that is given, like the only thing that I can really transform, and I would like to, is the way I do it, to make a difference.
Now, I'll just use an example. I can't teach you everything that you need to know about teaching, okay? I believe Ioana teaches you about teaching, is that right?
Yeah.
Okay, that's what that class is about. I think that I hope there are things in Ioana's class that you can use. I would just say, from my point of view, when I go to other countries and I turn the radio on in the car, right? I listen to the radio in the car. I hear a lot of music in English. Is it true in your country?
Yes.
So do the kids listen to that music?
Yes.
Yeah, they love it.
Do they understand all the words?
They do.
I think in Morocco, I think you have 7 official languages in Morocco. 7 government official languages. It's true, right? Well,
we speak at home. People can start using Berber, Arabic. Then we go to school. We start studying Standard Arabic, French, English, Spanish.
I think it's an unusual country. I say in Morocco, people will have one sentence and there'll be 3 languages in the same sentence.
True.
That's true. It's totally confusing.
Like India.
But when I go to Russia and I turn the radio on, I'm hearing a lot of American music, American words, and I think that's what kids are listening to. So another thing about English language teaching, I mean, I don't know so much about this, but it seems to me that the kids know our film and movie stars. For example, Jennifer Aniston, right? Right, and who else do they know? Who are the famous American stars the kids like?
Tom Cruise.
Tom Cruise, right?
Not in my generation here. They have different.
So I know. So it seems to me, if you want to get children's attention, you should be using American music. I know it's nice to sing folk songs and culturally contextual music. But on the other hand, we're teaching English, and these seem to be things that I would use. If I had to teach English, I think I would bring in films and listening, and then I would bring in music and listening. And then I think I might ask the students to write their own song. And I'd form a group, and I'd say, I want you to write an episode of Friends. Okay? Write a dialogue.
We do that.
You do that. And then I would videotape it. When they give their presentation, I would videotape it. And then I would make them watch the videotape, the students, and evaluate themselves. Yeah. So I think you could do that. I mean, it's to me, it's fairly simple. There are many answers. That's just one way to get kids' attention. And the point is, though, with action research, if you do this, and your kids like to come to class, and they're learning English, what you need to do is be able to convince your colleagues, the people who are not doing this, that the students are learning, that they like to come to class, that it's not so hard, you know. So that's why we do action research, is to demonstrate and to share these results. And that's where it seems to break down. You know, Muhammad says, well, you know, Michael, I think these things all the time. I'm a good teacher, you know, and I know he is, and he's always changing things. But very seldom do we see the results. And Roger says, but the people who work in my school don't want to change. They don't. I have an opinion, right? He says, I have an opinion on how to do this. They don't listen. I say, everybody's got an opinion. What we need is evidence. We need evidence. We need scores. We need work. We need achievement, and then show that to your colleagues. Okay? That's what action research is trying to do, is to try and demonstrate the difference. Let's look at a few things here. Okay. Before we begin, do you want to say, before I have some more ideas about action research. Okay, I'm going to show them to you. Before I do that, do you want to say anything?
You see, I'm very lucky at my school because, as I hear, we all have got standards in curriculum. For example, in my country, we have got, for example, topic music. I have to teach my students 8 lessons, and that's the thing that I decided not just to choose it for myself, but I asked my students to what music would they like to learn about, and those were their ideas. And really, the topic was very hard. Of course, it was difficult for me first because I had to learn about that music. I should find something. Well, right. But they taught me, and the lessons were really great. And that's the thing, that it is a very good idea just to, well, as if I am working strict to the curriculum, but students learn what they want to learn. And then the classes are really very exciting. And I'm very happy that I'm allowed to do this in my school, and my teachers, first they somehow, just because it's easier, open a book, well, just put a tape and play what you have got in your book, but when you just are going to work with children, and the children see that you want to help, and teacher is interested in the same music and we are, though I am not, for example, but still I work and teach them this and create activities according to this music. It really works very nice.
I think so. I think it's kind of like you being here today. Would you rather listen to me tell you how to teach, or would you rather talk about teaching? Frankly, I'd rather you talk about teaching, because you know more than I do.
And I usually say, I teach my students and my students teach me.
This is the way the PowerPoint is set up. Purposes of action research, benefits, steps in conducting. People have been asking about how do we do this. Data collection you wanted to know about for action research. This is very straightforward. Okay, it's not as theoretical. Why do we do action research? We want to increase our knowledge about teaching. We want to improve teaching. We want to integrate theory and practice. We said that before, and we want results. Okay, so we know that. We know that it's structured. Right? We identify the problem, we examine the solution, we improve our practice. We know that. Okay? What are the good things about action research? Well, you're choosing your own problems, okay, not mine. You get a deeper understanding of students when you ask them what they want to learn and what they know. You are equal partners. This is an outcome that's very good. The students, it's like you and me. We're colleagues. We can learn this together. It's the same for your students. Equal partners, and teachers work cooperatively, working together, okay, not against each other. Right? It's possible.